Hello, everybody. Welcome. Here we go. Matt Connarton Unleashed. And we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in really kind of rainy and dreary out, but still glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast Channel 6 if you're in Manchester. And hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. Today is Monday, September 11, 2023. And I'm not alone.
Jenny, darling, you're my best friend.
Hello there, darlings. I am present.
Yes, Jenny is here at the news desk.
Rainy day.
Yes. Yeah. Very drainy. That's the second time I stumbled on that. Dreary and rainy. It's like my brain couldn't decide between dreary and rainy, so it came out dreamy. Yes.
Well, a lot of people are feeling it today, so the weather, I think, is feeling it a little too.
Yes, yes. Well, we do have, so coming up later in the show, in the second hour, we do have a great musical guest today.
Yeah.
Nolan Cota from Aeons Encoded, which sounds like a band, but it's actually just him. He does he does everything himself. He also is in a band called Pointless Culture, who is currently, they've got an album coming out soon. But I had said to you recently, I said something like, this guy from Aeons Encoded, I've been playing his music for like 2 years now on the show because I love that song, Reconnection. I play that all the time, and it always gets a great response too. People in the chat room will comment on it. I said, the guy, he's on Bandcamp, it says he's from Concord. We've been playing his music for like 2 years. He probably has no idea, unless he's familiar with the show or somebody mentioned it to him. He probably has no clue that he's got a hit song on the show.
Very much so.
And that is one of my go-tos because, obviously we play a lot of music on the show. Independent, unsigned artists, both locally and from other places too. But there's a short list of songs that just get stuck in my head that just randomly pop into my head, even when I'm not thinking about the show. And Reconnection by Aeons Encoded is one of them. That riff I can tell you what they are, actually. There's that one. There's Beautiful Nightmare by Chasing the Devil. That just randomly pops into my brain sometimes. There's Revenge by Edgewise. Probably a couple others.
Oh yeah. So. Well, we are very blessed to have a lot of great musicians.
Yes.
A lot of great musicians, boy. And when I started doing this, I didn't realize just what is out there, and there's a lot, especially here in New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of really great talent. Seriously, folks, I'm not even kidding about this. Like, go out, see some of these live bands. If you're not sure, even if you see somebody here, drop me a note. And I'd be happy to hook you up with their page or their website so you can go see them in person.
Yes, indeed. Isaac Banks in the chat room says, who's the guest on your show, Matt? It's as I just mentioned, it's Nolan Cota from Aeons Encoded. He'll be here in the second hour. We did our opening song today was The Rising by Bruce Springsteen from the album of the same name. And that's kind of an unofficial tradition on the show, usually on September 11, if it falls on a weekday, of course, and we're here. I like to open with that. It's obviously not only is it about 9/11, but it also happens to be my favorite Springsteen song. I like Springsteen. I'm not a big fan. I'm a casual fan, but I like a lot of his stuff. I don't like Born to Run. Oh, it makes me nauseous when I hear it. God, I didn't even like that when I was a kid. I was like,
oh. Baby, you were born.
It's so long. It feels like it's probably like a 7.
You like long songs.
I do. Well, yeah. In fact, Reconnection by Aeons Encoded is like 7.5 minutes. That's true. But I don't know. Born to Run. It feels like it's 17, 18 minutes long. And I know it's not. It's probably like 5 or 6 minutes at the most, but it feels like it just goes on forever. Anyway, but The Rising by Springsteen, such a great song. And I really like that full album. And of course, The Rising is, it's specifically about firefighters, first responders on 9/11.
Yep.
I don't know if you know.
300.
I don't know if you know this, but Springsteen's son is a firefighter.
I did not know that.
Yep.
I did not know that.
I think just in the last few years he became a firefighter. If I'm not mistaken. So I've always really loved that song. And yeah, it was when a number of months ago he was on Howard Stern, and you know, Howard does these like 2.5 hour interviews with these musicians, and yeah, Springsteen actually played some of it on his guitar. It was pretty cool because they had a long discussion about that song specifically, and Springsteen talked about you know, the process of writing it, how it came to him, and that whole album, The Rising, is about 9/11. From what I haven't listened to it in a long time, but I think the whole thing kind of centers around that and the aftermath of it, and how Americans were feeling, and well, how Springsteen was feeling. You know, how he saw things from his perspective. But and I remember too reading an interview with him where he said he wanted to do something that was, because some of the music that was coming out at that time, it was almost, for lack of a better way of putting it, sort of revenge oriented, like Toby Keith with that song "Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue," you know, stuff like that. But Springsteen wanted to do something a little deeper. You know what I mean?
What was the one? I'm proud to be an American.
Well, that song
one
got played a lot, but that long predated 9/11. Lee Greenwood.
But it took the front row. I mean, my son's elementary school, after 9/11, they sang that song every morning before school.
Yeah,
that's what they would do, is that song.
They couldn't have picked something better than that.
They had all the kids singing it, and to this day, I do believe that many of them are not very fond of that song anymore, because it was literally played every single day. They had to sing it.
Yeah.
Yes, every day. So yeah, I think it kind of hurt them in that. But
I mean, nothing against it, but there's just better songs than that.
It was what the principal picked. I mean,
I
they
don't
didn't
know.
get a choice in
I know,
it.
it's
There was
just,
no vote.
you know what it is? It's just so cliche. It's like, oh, that song,
At
really?
the time, it wasn't.
No.
At the time, everything was...
Anytime that song has come into vogue, it's been cliche.
Stop it. No. Was, at the time, it was very appropriate.
I get it. No, I get it. I get it.
And I want to say something else to you, but I won't, because we're on FCC Radio.
They should have sung "The Rising" by Springsteen. That would have been much better.
Stop it. Brat. But
oh God,
serious note.
Lee Greenwood.
Stop
yes,
it.
yes.
Serious note. If we're going to talk about 9/11 and we're going to talk about the firefighters and the EMT, we need to talk about the fact that they are still fighting today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the New York City, I don't want to get the name wrong, the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees is made up of teachers, but also of firefighters, EMTs, and police members who were there on 9/11 and now are suffering from 9/11 diseases. Some of these diseases that people are getting sick with, they're not getting the benefit because it hasn't been recognized as an official 9/11. But they added.
This is what Jon Stewart's always fighting for.
Big time.
Yeah.
As of, I do believe today, there were over 40 new names added to the memorial for the firefighters and EMTs who are still dying from 9/11 cancers and lung diseases that, you know, they were told the air was safe.
Mm-hmm.
If they had been told, if there was a chance that it wasn't, they should have had respirators. But at the time, everybody was all hands on deck. Let's save as many lives as we can. But we have to not forget that we're 22 years out, and there are families that are suffering. There are people that are suffering that they shouldn't be. We promised to the 911 responders that we were going to be there to take care of them no matter what. We were going to be there to take care of them like they took care of us on that horrific day.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not necessarily holding up our end of the bargain, folks, because they're having to fight. And I want to say this, right now, they've been fighting in New York City. The retirees have been fighting to keep their Medicare, their traditional Medicare, and they have a supplemental policy through the city. And that's what they were promised as part of their benefit package. Now that they're retired, they're being the governor of New York City, or the mayor of New York City,
Eric Adams,
and the leadership of their union. Surprisingly, the leadership of the union has rolled the bus over retirees and have tried to force them onto a private Medicare Advantage policy. Many of them, if forced onto a policy, could lose their hospitals, their providers that they've had for decades, because those providers and hospitals may not be within the network of the Medicare Advantage plan that would be chosen for them to end up having.
by force, basically. They've been fighting and winning in court. They've won at least 6 times in court, and they're going to continue to fight to protect their members and make sure that we hold our promise to them and give them the care that they were promised. You know, a lot of these guys take pay cuts, whatever, in the promise that when they're retired, you're going to have traditional Medicare and you're going to have this supplement that we worked with you for. They're trying to do this to save money on the backs of 911 responders, and that really makes me sick. If you want to read about it for yourself, and I'll drop the link into the chat room as well, you can go to nycretirees.org, and that's retirees plural, nycretirees.org. You can read about the battles that they have been waging, and maybe you can help. You can always be a part of it by speaking up and saying, hey, I'm standing with these guys, and I'm not going to let you force them into this. We got to keep them in the public eye, because it's when doors get closed and cameras go away that people stop being quite so nice. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they need all the help and support that they can get. I was honored to get to meet them on the last trip that I was at in D.C. with Be a Hero. And they're an amazing group of people. There was about 70 of them that made the trip all the way down to D.C. that day, many of them on a 12-hour train. And they shouldn't be having to do that. They're retired. They should be home retired. They shouldn't have to be fighting to have health care so they don't die sooner than later.
Well, you know, I have to say this, and by the way, I have a short article here from Axios about first responder deaths post 9/11 that are linked to 9/11. But I have to say, you know, I do love my country, but one of the things that infuriates me, frankly, to no end about America is that we are horrible at taking care of the people who put their lives on the line for our country, whether it is veterans who fight in wars for us on our behalf, who then get often terrible treatment from the VA. You know, everyone's situation is different. That's not across the board. Some people have positive experiences. Far too many veterans have negative experiences. There are homeless veterans. There's all kinds of ways that we fail our veterans. So whether it's veterans that we send off to fight our wars, or whether it's people who are trying to defend the country right here at home. For example, when the worst terrorist attack on American soil in American history happened, and our first responders had to go and respond to that. Again, the neglect of these people doesn't surprise me. It infuriates me. Does it surprise me that we actually make these people fight for every scrap, every crumb of help that they can possibly get from our government that they were promised? That there shouldn't have even had to have been a promise. It should be obvious. They're owed that. They're owed all the help that they could possibly need. But of course, we fail them. Of course we do. It's no surprise. Look at how we treat veterans. Look at how we treat these first responders. It's the same thing. There's always a lot of happy talk about, you know, American heroes, American patriots, and we have to take care of them. They took care of us. Now it's our obligation, our duty to take care of them. And then, we just forget about it. And we forget about them, and we discard them like they're trash. And that's what has happened to these first responders. And this is a part of the problem is, unfortunately, it's one of those issues that unless you're really paying attention, and thank God, you know, Jon Stewart with his celebrity status, he's been able to draw a lot of attention to this issue, helping these people. Not enough. It's never enough, apparently, because nothing ever actually changes. But it's just incredible. But it's never going to be on anybody's top 5 list of issues. You know, you're never going to hear a political debate where one of the questions is, you know, hey, what are we going to do about these 9/11 first responders who are all dying of cancer or whatever other terrible illnesses they have that we're pretty sure were caused by them being exposed to everything that they had to inhale while they were cleaning up New York City after 9/11. What are we going to do for them? That's never going to be a debate question. It's never going to be on anybody's top 5 list of issues. It's probably never going to be on anybody's top 10 list of issues. It just isn't. And it's so, I mean, again, I love my country, but it's actually embarrassing that this is how we treat people, whether it's veterans, whether it's first responders, anybody who serves their country, who serves their community in any way, risking their lives. And we promise them everything when the cameras are on. And like you said, when the cameras are off, they're not going to, we don't need them. Whatever. Let them die, right?
They count on the fact that the public tends to have a 2-week memory. And we do, because there's so much news going on every day. Something catches your eye. I'm guilty of it too. Something catches your eye and you forget about some of the other things you were thinking about, but our media forgets them and leaves them there. And they only take them back out on 9/11. That's when we talk about it again. We don't talk about it otherwise, except for when Jon Stewart has been able to bring it up front. Absolutely. But we get on this, I've been talking to these people for months now that I found out that they existed. I didn't know this group existed. I didn't know that they were being put through this.
Mm-hmm.
But once I did, we got to help them. We got to talk about this and not stop talking about it.
We have a call. Ron is on the line. Hi, Ron.
Yeah, hi, Matt, Jenny. I'm going to be so brief because you guys are so spot on. And I thank you for what you guys are talking about and your facts. They're facts, not opinions. There's so much to say, but with so little time. I remember when Americans drove around with flags and there was peace and there was no road rage. And that all disappeared over time. How quick we forget. I wish that at least every September 11th, all Americans at least could drive around with their headlights on to say, we remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember when that was the thing.
That's it, I guess. You've got more to say that I really want to hear, so I don't want to take up any more time.
All right, Ron. Well, we appreciate the call, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
You got
Bye-bye.
it. Bye-bye. And that does open up the line for you if you'd like to chime in. 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. I'm on social media at Matt Connarton. You can email me, matt@mattconnerton.com. And, of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat, and we will get to everyone's comments in a moment. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is to give us a call at 603-250-6007. You had started to say something?
I had.
Okay, never mind. I thought you did.
I don't think I did.
Okay. Well, I did want to look at this quickly. This is a short article from Axios regarding what we were talking about, and then we'll look at the chat room. But post 9/11 first responder deaths now nearly equal to attack casualties. So it says here, the number of 9/11 first responders who have died from ground zero related health complications is now nearly equal to the number of first responders who died during the attacks. The New York City Fire Department announced last week the addition of 43 names of first responders who died from 9/11 related ailments to its memorial at the World Trade Center. The names added include those of firefighters, paramedics, and EMTs. Fire Commissioner Laura Kavanaugh said in a press release, quote, "These brave men and women showed up that day and in the days and months following the attacks to participate in the rescue and recovery efforts at the World Trade Center site. We will never forget them," unquote. In the 22 years since 9/11, 341, quote, FDNY members have died from rare cancers and diseases caused by the toxic dust at ground zero, unquote, the Uniformed Firefighters Association wrote in a Facebook post on Monday. The count is nearly equal to 343 New York City firefighters who died on September 11, 2001. According to the New York City Police Department, 23 NYPD officers died on 9/11. In the years since, 323 members of the force have died from 9/11 related illnesses. Health ailments related to 9/11 have also impacted members of the FBI and the Department of Defense. FBI Director Christopher Wray said last year that 21 FBI employees had died from related illnesses in the years since the attacks. Increased funding for the 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund has long been the subject of an ongoing effort in Congress. I don't know if effort's the right word. In 2019, the Senate voted to secure funding for the fund through 2092, and the legislation was signed into law by former President Trump. A new New York law called the 9/11 Notice Act will require large employers to inform current and former workers who were present in the exposure zones of the attack about their eligibility to register for federal programs providing compensation and health care for attack victims. New York Governor Kathy Hochul signed the bill into law on Monday. Hochul said I'm never sure if it's Hochul or Hochul, said in a statement, quote, "On this solemn day of remembrance, let us not only honor the lives lost on 9/11, but also extend our support to the survivors, their loved ones, and our first responders," unquote. Well, those are some pretty words.
Yeah.
But we make them fight for it, don't we? Just like we make veterans fight for all the care they need.
And one of the other things that's happening with them is if their specific diagnosis hasn't been entered as an official 911 disease, even if they were, in there trying to find people the day that it happened, they can't get any help.
Yeah.
It's got to be fought for, and it's ridiculous. I mean, it's these cancers that are coming down in large quantities and lung ailments, especially.
Yeah.
To these firefighters and police and EMTs, and they didn't come by it on their own. They came by it trying to save lives.
Right. Absolutely.
And let's not forget, they dug through the rubble for how long? Trying.
Yeah. People don't realize
it wasn't like over that day.
For weeks after there were still fires burning.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Big time. And they were just trying to move everything around, clean it out. All that dust that was in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's concrete. It's chemical. It's jet fuel. It's smithereens of just metal fragments. All of this stuff was getting inhaled.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't wearing respirators. And you can go back and watch the footage.
Yeah.
And they're just
probably didn't have enough to go around.
No, I doubt it. I mean, well, maybe. I don't know. Jesus, I don't even know. I know that there was my 9/11 experience was I worked in Jordan Hospital in Plymouth at the time, Plymouth, Mass. And you wouldn't think that we would be getting phone calls, but we did. Shortly after I got home from work, I went right to sleep because I got out at 7 a.m. And one of the nurses I work with the night before called and woke me up to tell me to get the TV on and that she had just gotten a phone call from work. And I got a phone call. And they had put all of us on call. And the plan was they were going to move stable patients out of the Boston area, bring them down towards the Cape, all the way down, fill up our beds with their stables. And then Boston was going to take New York's stable patients, opening up more space in their hospitals to take care of what we all assumed were going to be large quantities of wounded.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody got called in.
Yeah.
Because it was large quantities of death.
Yeah.
That was the quietest night of work I've ever worked in my life. I was on a cardiac unit, and we all just kind of it was almost like being zombie. We didn't know what to think. I think we were all just the whole nation was just feeling horrified at what had just happened.
Yeah.
And not getting called in was devastating to a lot of people.
Well, my experience that morning was, I've told the story on the show before, but just briefly, I didn't know what was going on until I got a phone call at work so I was working at Strawberries on Loudon Road in Concord, and I was where I lived was really close to where I worked. So if it was a nice day out, if the weather was nice, and that day happened to be, it was a beautiful day, the weather was perfect. Sometimes I would just walk to work in the morning. It would take me maybe 7 or 8 minutes to just walk to work. So I just walked to work that day. So I didn't hear the news I didn't listen to the news in the car because I didn't drive in that day. I just walked. So I was completely oblivious. The store opened at 10 o'clock. So I'd usually get there around 9. So I'm there. I have no idea what was going on. And then I get a call from my mother's husband, Terry. And he says to me, "Hey, can you call your mother? I think she just would feel better if she heard from you because she's freaking out. She thinks he was calling me from his work. So, I hear his voice and he says he's calling from his job. And I'm like, my first thought was something happened to my mom. So he says, he said, I'm at work. Can you call your mother at home? She's freaking out. She thinks it's the end of the world. So I think she'd feel better hearing from you. And when he said that to me, again, I'm oblivious. I have no idea what's going on. I was like, she thinks it's the end of the world. So my first thought is, oh my God, we're in a nuclear standoff with somebody. Maybe it is the end of the world. Either the Russians or China or something. That was my first thought when
I can understand why you would go there.
When he said that, and I was like, well, is it? And then he explained to me what was going on, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I said, all right, I'll call her. So I called her, and then I grabbed we actually still sold radios then. So I grabbed a radio and I plugged it in and listened to the news, and there was nobody coming into the store that morning, but that's how I found out. But yeah, it was like I got up and I went to work that day just completely oblivious to what was going on. If you'd like to get in with a call, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. We'll say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat. Mike from Queen City Cabinetry joins us, one of our great sponsors here at WMNH. And I get to hang out with Mike every Friday night on Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. He says, hello, everyone. Isaac Banks, who I'm pretty sure, if memory serves, is from Greensboro, North Carolina.
No.
I think so. He says, hello, Matt and Jen. Good afternoon.
Hola.
Jenny, I see you're in there. He said, shalom, peeps.
Shalom.
Isaac Banks says, Matt and Jen, JP and me says to you, we both love you from us.
Oh, thank you.
JP is Jeff Pagari, and me, IB, Isaac Banks.
Well, thank you very much.
Glad he clarified that. Melanie La Liberty from the great state of Vermont joins us in the chat. Hello. Isaac says, yesterday it was rain and thunder outside last night in Greensboro, North Carolina.
No.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Isaac asked earlier who the guest was, and I told him, and he said, okay, awesome, Matt, and he is talent. Yes, if you're just joining us, Nola Cota will be our, is that how you say his name? Nola? Wait.
Nolan.
Cota will be, I must be thinking of New Orleans.
You're stuck on a map somewhere.
Rocking down in New Orleans. Remember that song from Jerry and the Scumbags? That one went away for some reason.
No.
Anyway, yes, Nolan Cota from Aeons Encoded and Pointless Culture will be here with us later. Isaac Banks says, I listen to Bruce Springsteen's song, Tunnel of Love. Speaking of Springsteen.
That's another one that was a little overplayed.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't get away from that song. I like that song, but couldn't get away from it. That was a huge hit. Scott Robinson says, the wife and I went and saw Springsteen at Foxborough a couple of weeks back. Wasn't a bad show. I don't know a lot of the songs, but I had fun. Yeah, he's canceled the rest of his tour, Springsteen has.
I did not know that.
Some sort of a health issue.
Oh, geez.
Miriam Banish says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Miriam.
Good afternoon, darling.
Melanie has issued Mel is going to be a jerk warning.
Uh-oh. Here she comes. Look out!
Melanie said, I struggle with all the never forget posts when no one seems to be concerned about the religious extremists in our government who are trying to insert their religion into our laws. It's the same mentality that flew those planes and took down the towers. I'm not touching that. I don't.
Who said this?
Melanie.
Oh.
I get what you're saying, Melanie, and I take your point. I don't quite agree. I understand what you're saying, but I that's a whole other conversation, and there's a lot of nuance that we would have to. So I'm not gonna sign on to that, but.
I totally believe in the never forget posts. I mean,
as
a former EMT, I like those. I like seeing them because I think it is important to remember the people and remember their names. And even if at that moment you think of that person's name, in that moment that person is remembered. They're still around. Yeah. And as far as the extremism in government, I am fighting left and right, woman. I'm certainly paying attention and fighting. And there's a lot of people out there that are. And there are a lot of great ways to get involved.
Isaac Banks says Bruce Springsteen had hits. Good hits.
He did?
Isaac is also a music critic. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not.
JFed joins us in the chat room and says, good afternoon, everyone.
Shalom.
And JFed also says, as the Fonz, hey. Oh yes, he's stealing Isaac's.
I see what he did there.
Stealing Isaac's thunder. Melanie also said, "I'm sorry, but that like visiting your mom's grave only on. Oh, it's like visiting your mom's grave only on her birthday. We have to not suck on the other 364 days of the year."
Agreed.
Yes, of course.
Agreed.
John Hopwood joins us in the Facebook live chat.
Hoppy.
Called Springsteen an old fart. Hey, that's the boss.
Wow.
That's the boss.
Where is Hoppy?
I don't know. I haven't seen him in a few weeks.
Where are you? We miss you.
Isaac Banks apparently responding to JFed said, as Potsy, hey, hashtag Jason Federson, how are you doing, sir? Good impression of the Fonz. Excellent, Jason. As Potsy, Jason Federson, you're the man. I don't remember Potsy ever saying you're the man on Happy Days. And then Isaac Banks says, in parentheses, normal voice, hashtag Matt, Jason Federson is good doing impression of the Fonz. He should watch episodes of Happy Days. Well, he probably has, Isaac. That's probably how he knows how to do those impressions.
We watched them when they were brand new.
And
Jeez.
Mike from Queen City Cabinetry says, Isaac, I don't know if you knew, but Matt does amazing impressions. I do. I do those only on Retro Spectrum Radio with Paul
I
and
am very aware.
But I did.
I watch in awe. I tell you.
If you missed it, on Friday night's show, I did my impression of Sir Laurence Olivier at the DMV. And it was stunning. And I'll tell you what the secret is. It's one thing, like anyone can pretend to be Sir Laurence Olivier at the DMV. But I actually, in that brief moment, I actually become Sir Laurence Olivier at the DMV. I actually become him. And that's the secret to doing a great impression.
Wasn't he on TV in like the 30s or something? Or
Well, he's a very famous actor.
the 30s, right? 40s?
Later than
When
that,
was
I
it?
think.
I'm stuck in the wrong century.
Let's see.
Oh my goodness. Melanie is saying she will attempt to keep it reined in.
Mike
I
says,
don't know how that's gonna go.
"No, you don't have to. Well, you don't have to keep anything reined in the chat room.
We like Unleashed Mel.
I don't censor the chat room." Mike says, "Stunning isn't a strong enough word." That's right.
Wow, that's a heck of a compliment there.
I can do those impressions pretty well.
Oh.
We have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hello?
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 I've got a new protective case for my iPhone, and it seems to be causing me trouble.
Oh, did you cover the speaker with it? Yeah, you're supposed to leave that part uncovered.
Well, I thought it was supposed to be uncovered.
Right. That's my point.
Damn, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to, cut part of it out, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there.
No, it's here. It's just not behaving well.
This is anarchy. Pandemonium, really.
I got an iPhone SE3,
Uh-huh.
It's very small.
Oh.
An
But
iPhone
it was
3?
on, didn't cost much or anything. Hey, that's Lord Olivier to you.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Oh.
it's not Sir Laurence Olivier. It's Lord Laurence Olivier.
Laurence Olivier was elevated to the House of Lords in 1970.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I never knew that.
Me neither.
Well, that totally blows my impression. I'm gonna have to retool it.
Yeah, because he's got a title.
Jenny, you don't even know who he is.
What year was that? He's the dude that played I don't know. I have a vision in my head of he was in the Arabian movie, right?
He was nominated for an Oscar 10 times, won the Oscar playing Hamlet in 1948.
Oh.
Hamlet won the Best Picture Oscar in 1948.
You
He
said
was,
48.
nominated for Best Director, and he also had
Did you hear that, Matt?
2 honorary Oscars.
I said
He was
40.
a famous English stage actor. But he was also, he walked away from movie stardom. He starred in 2 movies in 39 and 40, in Wuthering Heights, and then he was in Rebecca, which was a Alfred Hitchcock picture that won Best Picture. But he went back to England and volunteered to become a Navy what would you call it, pilot, but he smashed two planes, and so Churchill asked him to make a movie. So he made the first great Shakespearean movie, which is Henry V, which of course is about the England rallying and going to war with France. And he was the most famous Shakespearean actor of his day, but he also was a great contemporary actor. But he's been gone for a long time now.
Miriam is asking in the chat, wasn't he in something with Dustin Hoffman?
Yeah, he was in Marathon Man. He was Zell, the Nazi. He got an Best Supporting Actor nomination for that. Then he played this grotesque. He was very bad in the movie The Boys from Brazil, playing somebody based on Simon Wiesenthal. But it was fun because Gregory Peck was playing Joseph Mengele, and they got to fight each other at the end. But you thought, which one's going to die first of a heart attack? They're both so old.
Yes.
Well, Olivier got 10 Oscar nominations, but he made very few films to the end because he was married to Vivian Leigh, but they got divorced in '60, and he married much younger women and had like 4 or 5 kids with her. So eventually he had to make some money to support the kids, So he'd be in some god-awful movies like Wild Geese 2. But
I haven't heard of that one.
You got to bring home the bacon, right?
That's right. That's right.
But I don't even think you know. Let's hear your Laurence Olivier impression.
All right, here. Let's do this. So John, pretend you're an employee at the DMV, and I've walked up to the counter.
You got your form?
Yes, I'm here to renew my driver's license. I'm Lord Laurence Olivier.
No, let's do it. It's Lord Olivier. You see, he was Sir Laurence Olivier, but he took the name Lord Olivier of Brighton.
I don't think
Brighton is a seaside resort in England, which to us really sucks, but to the British is something like like Las Vegas. Except the Las Vegas is really Blackpool.
I can't do it again.
I don't want to confuse you.
I can't do it again, John.
So
I can't recreate the magic of what I just did.
Lord Olivier.
I mean, regardless of how I said it, you have to admit, for a moment there, you thought I was possessed by him or something, didn't you?
Until you blew it with the Lawrence.
Well,
the Lord Laurence Olivier.
Well,
then you proved that you were a phony.
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, it's you have to admit though, it's pretty impressive. I mean, the accent and everything, I had it down.
I thought you're very promising, but we'll have
you.
Gonzo in there too, and Elizabeth Ropp to give you some pointers.
Oh well, they do impressions of you. I don't do a John Hopwood impression.
You should have been standing, and you needed to center yourself around the groin, and then create an arrow of power up to the point between your eyebrows, and then you would have nailed it.
Well, that's some of these things are visual. It's a radio show. It's theater of the mind.
So it's right here in Laurence Olivier on acting. I'm just giving you some tips from the Godhead himself.
I probably should read that. Or watch it.
Hey, what do you guys think about this Secret Service agent? He's 88 years old. He's got a book to peddle. And suddenly he remembers that he found the magic bullet that allegedly went through JFK's back, then up through his throat, then down through whatever, and then into John Conley's back, then through John Conley's lung, then through John Conley's arm, and then through his leg. And isn't that an amazing thing? At 88, he remembers this while he has a book to sell.
That is, yeah.
Have you read about this?
Yes.
No, I have not.
I am aware of this, and I am skeptical. And I know that another Secret Service agent who is there is already coming out and saying, no, that's not correct. So he's already being debunked by another Secret Service agent.
Now, you see, I was talking to somebody that you know, but I can't reveal their name because I swore that I won it. And I'm not going to give you any details. But I actually said exactly what you said to him, and he said, that's not true. Clint Hill just said, because Clint Hill is who you're talking about, rather than this guy says he's the last witness. And I thought, was Clint Hill dead? But Clint Hill's alive. Clint Hill was his partner. And Clint Hill's famous in history as the guy that in 2 seconds jumped off the back of the Cadillac that was in back of the limo. And in 2 seconds, he was on the back of that Lincoln helping Jackie Kennedy get back into the car as it sped up. And he shielded the body because although they have the fiction that JFK died at the hospital, that's generally accepted that he was dead before he got there. But as a Catholic, you have to get, at that time, to get extreme unction, you had to still be alive, which is something I didn't know until recently. I didn't know you had to be alive to be forgiven all your sins. Like, I guess if you get your head blown off in Dallas, you can't get forgiven, right? But they manufactured a little lie to get JFK into heaven, or at least limbo. Except that doesn't exist anymore, right?
It doesn't? Well, that's disappointing.
You're a Catholic. You should know about limbo.
Well, I believe it's called purgatory, is what you're referring to, right? Unless there's another place I'm not aware of.
What did they teach you in Catholic school? I was a Protestant, but my Catholic mother told me about limbo. That's where all the dead babies go.
What?
All right, this is getting into a dark zone. All right.
What are you talking about?
I don't want.
No way.
Limbo is in heaven, or it's not before heaven. That's what my mother told me. I was 4 years old or something.
That was about the same time as Santa Claus, right?
I was taught that you go to purgatory to burn off your sins, and then you go to heaven, or you just go to hell. So it's either purgatory or hell.
Don't have sins except for the original sin, and Jesus already died for that.
So they just go to heaven, is what you're saying?
No, they go to limbo. It is an intermediate state. This is Wikipedia.
So you remember Catholics don't go to heaven until after everybody gets resurrected, right?
It's an intermediate state. Yeah, I think you've got that right, Jenny, in which the recently deceased experience various phenomenon before being reborn in another state, including heaven or hell. I don't think this is the official Holy Mother Church. Wikipedia can give you the... But getting back to JFK, so you think it's a bunch of malarkey too, huh?
Yes, I do. I think you nailed it. You said he's got a book to sell.
Well, Clint Hill, was on top of JFK and looking into all that gore, because he writes about it himself. Clint Hill believes in the single bullet theory.
Mm-hmm.
But if this is actually true, that the bullet, the pristine bullet was found in a tuft of the leather in the Lincoln Continental and back of JFK, it would completely rewrite history, right? But the guy at the time he's writing his reports, he says that he found the bullet, and then instead of giving it to his supervisor, he actually went into the I forget what they call it, but it's an emergency room.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's a rather small room where they were operating on JFK. And then John Connolly was in another one. And he says he walked in and put the bullet on the blanket of JFK.
Right.
Rather than telling anybody about this.
Yeah. See, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's a big reason why I'm so skeptical. It's just bizarre. He just does that and doesn't say anything.
Right. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, that was my thought. I was just saying he just does that and doesn't say anything to anybody about it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
That's what I said to this other person.
Yeah.
But he said he was traumatized and, the PT, well, I guess, I don't know if you can get PTSD right then and there, but he was traumatized. It's chaotic. But see what Clint Hill says in the New York Times. Clint Hill's 89, a year older than this guy. And Clint Hill managed to, within 2 seconds, bound off a car and save Jackie Kennedy from getting run over,
Right.
And he's only a year older than this guy because, he was young and, he'd been a Secret Service agent for 6 years. I mean, if you're that highly trained, these guys are trained to put themselves in front of a bullet.
Right.
Which means that's got to be dedicated training like your father went through as a SEAL or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
You have to be highly trained. I mean, I wouldn't do that. Besides, I'm so short, it wouldn't work.
It'd go right over your head.
But Clint Hill was always bothered by the fact he didn't make it within another second and put his body in front of the third bullet, which is impossible, but so he allegedly did this, but in his notes, and they only gave the notes in 2 weeks later, I guess. He says he doesn't have any mention of going into the actual emergency room.
Right.
Or the bullet,
Yeah.
And yet, the one thing in that guy's book, it's #1 on Amazon.com, his book. And it's published by a rather minor publisher. And I know they're a minor publisher because they held a short story by me for a year before rejecting it. They were going to publish it, but they didn't. That's
really?
how minor this publisher is. So the Chicago Press or whatever. And Chicago Review Press. But so this is a thing. If you can't refute it, right?
Yeah.
Because he's saying it. And even under the law, a witness can come forward in a murder years later.
Oh, sure.
We see in like the Central Park jogger case, things like that.
Yeah.
But you can't refute it. But it's the one piece of evidence that blows everything out of the water, right?
By the way, we're almost at the top of the hour, John, but I do want to, while we're on the subject, I do want to quickly ask you, why do you think that we still, so much of that hasn't been released? Trump, when he was president, he did promise, I think, that they were going to release all the JFK stuff, and then he changed his mind. Obviously, somebody talked him out of it. But I think it was supposed to, I think there was even something legally that was done that it was supposed to happen by now. But it's still all kept secret from us.
Well, Vanity Fair has an article written by a Cleveland lawyer that the New York Times identifies as the guy that helped the Secret Service agent process his memories, quote unquote, process his memories. Well, I don't want to reveal anything ahead of time, but me and Big Steve have been working with this book with a certain, let's just say they're from somewhere near Alpha Centauri. That we've got quite the story about the UFO JFK connection. But, it's 9/11. There's the horror that happened in the United States, and there's the horror that happened in 1973 in Chile when the CIA, on the directions of Henry Kissinger and Richard Nixon, staged the coup d'etat against the elected government, which led to a dictatorship being established and the president of Chile committing suicide. So it's a somber day, but someday I will fill you into the real story.
Really?
Okay.
All right.
Oh yeah. It makes the satanic portal over the White House look like child's play, Matt.
Really?
Child's play.
Well, if you can make a satanic portal look like child's play, it must be quite a story. By the way, is it Chile or Chile?
Chile.
It's every once in a while. I like to say Chile because I like to eat chili, but I do want to respect the country.
One of the guys who are helping process memories, if you can call him a guy, his name is Bill A.
Bill A?
Yeah, Bille. But it has some type of weird accent aigu. Except it's not an accent aigu. That's a little in-joke for the Francophone.
So a lot of people probably call him Billy, but it's Bill A.
Right, it's Bill A.
Bill A.
And it's Chile, too.
Chile.
Somehow I'm getting the idea, maybe we can 10-year cycle, Dallas, and then Santiago, Chile. But I guess we'll have to find something that happened in 1983.
All right.
Okay.
Well, fair enough.
Take care.
All right, John. Appreciate the call. Bye-bye.
And I'm going to send you a picture of Christ in Limbo by Hieronymus Bosch.
Please do. I would love to see it. Please do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess that's when Jesus went down there and harrowed limbo. Whatever harrowing means, I know Christ did it. I just don't know what it means.
I don't remember Sister Margarita talking about any of that, but okay. I'll take you at your word, John.
Everything I know about the Bible, I saw in a movie. Okay, bye.
All right, bye-bye.
I believe this.
All right. Well, that was our friend John Hopwood. Here's what we're going to do. We're approaching the top of the hour. We're going to get to a break. We've got a great guest coming on, and in fact, I'm going to play one of his songs, and then we'll get him in here. This is my favorite of his. This is Reconnection from Aeons Encoded, and the man himself, Nolan Cota, is going to join us in just a few minutes. Check this out. We're going to listen to this, and we're going to show some love to our amazing sponsors, and then we'll be back with hour number 2, Numero Dos. Don't go away. Come on down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
Bring your kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry, located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at queencitycabinetrynh.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
Clemento's Pizzeria, family friendly, awesome for a date night. Clemento's Pizzeria.
For delivery, call 603-782-8450.
Clemento's Pizzeria, the best pizza in town.
1875 South Willow Street in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Best cocktails around.
Come in as friends and leave as family.
This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
WMNH, rip the knob off.
I would like to welcome the brand new member of Jerry's Rock and Roll Army, the commander to the supreme leader, Matzo Covington.
Great song, but I don't know it.
Welcome back, everybody. We have entered hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast Channel 6 if you're in Manchester. And hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. Jenny is here as well at the news desk.
Present and accounted for.
Yes, yes. And today is, of course, Monday, September 11, 2023. And we have with us, joining us on the couch, Nolan Cota is here. Am I saying your last name correctly? Is it Cota?
That's it, yep.
Yes, from Aeons Encoded and the other band, Pointless Culture.
Pointless Culture, yep.
Yes, yes. But wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.
I was saying to you off air that I said to Jenny recently, I've been playing this guy's music for like 2 years on the show. We should probably have him on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That's an honor. Appreciate it.
And I always get a lot of positive feedback on that song, Reconnection.
That's so cool.
It's kind of epic, and it's just great. It's one of those songs that gets stuck in my head, especially that ending. It's a very dramatic ending with the dun, 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 dun.
It's quite heavy.
Yeah,
that was my goal anyway. Yeah,
I like it a lot, and you're getting some love in the chat room too. Marissa Cota, who I think you said is your sister.
That is my sister. Hello.
Yep, she says, "Yay, Nolan." Very nice. Riley King says, "Hi, Nolan."
Hey, Riley.
Let's see. I think I saw somebody else pop in here too. Carol Zaworowitz joins us in the chat room. Hello, Carol. And hello to anybody I missed in there. And if you'd like to join us, the studio line is open. If you have any questions for Nolan or feedback or anything at all, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. I'm on social media at Matt Connarton. You can email me, matt@mattconnerton.com. And of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is give us a call at 603-250-6007. Oh, Jenny shared the link tree in there for in the chat room too for Aeons Encoded. Let me ask you this first off. So where did you come up with the name? What does the name mean?
So it used to be Aeons Apart, and it was kind of just like some kind of wordplay I was just trying to go for, just what sounded cool. And over time, I was like, well, I kind of want to incorporate my name. So Cota. So I was like, all right, let's kind of go off that. And then Encoded was born. So it was kind of like a little subtle play there. Yeah. And I think it sounded a little more, not original, but more to my liking, I guess. But yeah, it was just kind of like me just messing around with some words and seeing where they landed.
Yeah.
But it kind of stuck, and people seemed to like it. And behold, Aeons was born. Yeah.
And that it's all you, right? You play everything? Wow. Yep. Wow. How do you I mean, it's unique. How do you describe it to people who haven't heard it? Because it's not like anything. I mean, I can hear influences, but it's especially I think the vocals are part of what gives it its uniqueness. Your approach with the vocals is different. I can't think of anybody who quite does it like that. But how do you describe it to people who haven't heard it yet?
It can be kind of broad. So I have a lot of influence from like Pink Floyd to Rush, and then to modern bands like Tool. You know, all the progressive rock / metal bands have been kind of my go-to for, how I go about writing my stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of just not like draw ideas from them, but kind of like take inspiration from what they've done, and I just kind of make it my own, just kind of like putting my own twist on some things. And a lot of it boils down to experimentation. So, if you're into like progressive rock, and you like a lot of synthesizer stuff and like very spacey, atmospheric type soundscapes and all that, this is the type of stuff you'd be into. So, it's very niche, I feel, but, it's fun. It's a fun genre. And, I try to keep it interesting in terms of like making one song kind of heavier, but maybe one song a little more experimental and, more keyboard heavy. So just, not to have an identity crisis, but like to, keep it interesting.
Yeah.
As much as I possibly can. So,
yeah.
So yeah, I would say like progressive rock mixed with some spacey sounds is probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, so you play everything, you do all the vocals. Are those real drums? Do you also play drums, or do you program those?
I do play drums, but being in an apartment, that's a little tough. So I program them myself, so I use plugins, which are like software drums.
Yeah.
And I take, not like, well, they're real samples of drums, but not my own.
Yeah.
But they're included in the software. So I take, what sound I want from each drum, and cymbal and whatnot. And then I map them on like a MIDI chart. And you can also play it on a keyboard because it connects by MIDI through that too.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm not always on time. So certain sections I'll do just keyboard and sync them. And then other times I'll map out each individual drum, which takes a lot of time, but it can open up my creative, doors a little bit more because I can get really fast or really complex and it would sound good still, but like, got to remember not to make it too like unrealistic.
Right.
So
right.
I would say, yeah, drums is like probably one of the time consuming instruments that I have to do when it comes to my music, just because of it's programmed kind of very incrementally.
Aaron Bilodeau, who I don't know if you know Aaron, very, very talented musician. He says in the chat room, I checked it out before the show. Outstanding new fan here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Do you know Aaron?
I don't, but I'm gonna check him out. Yeah.
Yeah, he does very sort of experimental stuff too.
That's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
With the drum, so when you're mapping out the drums, when you're doing all that, do you intentionally try to put in something that makes it sound like it's not programmed?
Yeah, so the flexibility of I'll just say it's Easy Drummer 2 by Tune Track.
Okay.
And that's what I've been using for the last few years, mapping out drums. And they allow you to kind of humanize each drum.
Yeah, I've heard of this. Yeah.
They have like, certain settings. You can set velocity, which is kind of like how hard or how soft a drum sounds.
Yeah.
So to make it realistic, that's a very variable like setting that I use. And I try to use it sparingly enough where it sounds like someone's actually drumming it.
Yeah.
So that alone is also time consuming because I don't want it to sound like, super like processed.
Right.
But, I'm not going to lie and say that they're real drums either.
Yeah.
But, you want it to kind of sound authentic. And that's what I'm trying to go for, is being as authentic as I can with what tools I have at my disposal.
Yeah.
So,
that makes sense. Yeah. It's amazing what you can do now with the technology. I had another gentleman who, he's got a band called Downhill Rollers, but it's more of just a straightforward rock thing. Really, really good. But it's all him. He does it all himself, and he programs the drums. And I remember saying to him, like, those sound completely real. You know, like I would never have guessed. So it's really impressive what you can do now.
They've improved their like interface and just overall quality over the years. I mean, I'm not all that well versed in like the progression of all that, but like you can tell that there's so much love put into these programs.
Yeah.
Where like you could pretty much replace your drummer if you wanted to,
right,
and go that route. So it's really cool seeing how much you can do these days from just, a computer.
Oh yeah.
And some like DI instruments.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
What's your first instrument? Obviously you play multiple instruments. What did you start out on?
Actually, I started on piano.
Okay.
But I, that was kind of like my gateway into music because, my grandparents had a really old Casio keyboard from like the late 80s that I would kind of mess around on. And then that's kind of like what got me into guitar later on is, and that's like my main instrument now aside from bass.
Yeah.
So like, but keyboard has been the best way for me to learn everything about music that I know today, or at least have me start out on music. It's very versatile, and it was a lot of fun to learn on, and then just kind of, went from there to drums, keyboard, like synthesizers, keyboards, and, guitar and all that, and kind of expanded from there.
I've heard a lot of music teachers say that that everyone should at least learn some basic keyboard skills.
I agree.
And that it'll help you and everything. Not advice I ever follow. I'm a bass player.
Awesome.
And I can play a little bit of guitar. I never learned, I've never learned anything on keyboard, and I probably never will, but but I have heard a lot of music teachers say that that's really the best foundation you could ask for, is if you start out on keyboard, or if you already play something else, if you go back and just try to learn, just basic stuff, scales and whatnot, and it'll actually really help you.
Exactly. Especially the C major scale. That's how it's pretty much mapped around, and you just kind of experiment from there, or learn. You can kind of use that as your foundation, and then kind of like learning other scales from that C major scale, and like learning all the other stuff from there. So
yeah,
it's a great starting point.
I remember those old Casios. Was it a little one or was it? Because I
swear it shrunk on me because I started young, right? So like I swear it was like like a full size keyboard. Then the one day I went over to play it, like I don't know, maybe 4 years old or something like that. And I swear it shrunk.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, or 5 years old or something like that. But yeah, it's about like it's a what is it, a 42 key or something like that keyboard.
Yeah.
It's fairly small keys.
Yeah.
Something you'd probably find on like a MIDI controller.
Right.
Or something like that. So like it was comfortable.
Yeah.
As even when I was getting older and my hands were getting a little bit bigger and all that, it was still fun to play. And I still have one, right? Not the same condition as it was back then, but it's in my apartment right now, sitting in the corner. So it's still there. The OG.
I think I have one in a storage unit that's in there, because even though I never really learned to play it, I did have one, and I think but it's a little one, if I'm remembering it correctly, and I think it took D batteries.
Yep, that's what mine took.
Really?
Yeah, 6 of them to be exact.
Yeah.
It's a power sucker.
yeah, exactly. Has your process changed over the years with Aeons Encoded?
A little bit. I try to do all the production myself, so it was kind of like me learning how to do it all on my own, which was very tedious to say the least. But if you listen to my very first like demo track, Exordium, like that was just kind of me throwing some tracks together to see how things worked.
Yeah.
And then kind of like showcasing the sound I was going for in a way. So like kind of like keeping that synthy stuff and then getting heavier. So, I think overall, like my process has kind of stayed the same in terms of how I compose.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the production of it, I've gotten a lot more, what's the word? Critical?
Yeah.
Of it. Because, my ears, when you do like music on your own, it takes a lot out of you, especially in your ears.
Oh yeah.
The ear fatigue is,
I
think, what they call it, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
But I try to keep it streamlined. And it gets easier the more I do it, because like I kind of find what works and what doesn't work, and that's the fun of the experimentation that I get to go through. And I think I've improved just in terms of production, but like how I go about writing and putting it all together has kind of stayed the same.
Is a lot of because you mentioned there's a lot of experimentation. Do you have some songs where you kind of write it all out and then you go to record it, or do you ever or is it mostly just kind of experimenting as you go?
So yeah, that's a good question. So a few songs I have like actually written out completely. One of them, actually, the whole EP were reconnections on the Cosmic Archives. That whole EP was actually tabbed out on a software called Guitar Pro.
Oh, okay.
And I kind of put all the structure together on that. I programmed the drums through that, and but through like sheet music, so it was even more tedious.
Yeah.
But it helped me like kind of establish the basis of what I wanted to go for, and I was able to change it there without having to like worry about recording anything. And I didn't know about like Scratch at the time, where you can like record stuff like kind of on like a piece of paper in your computer.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And just that's how I kind of did all that, because like when it comes to recording, you always picture it kind of being like you got to do this in one take. It's not the case for me. Like I've been able to like do it all kind of in sections. You can do it comfortably, and I can adjust things if I need to. But the more experimental songs, like on my first album, it's Inspect Element, which was oh my god, it's almost 2 years old now. Which is crazy. So Theoretical and Beyond the Mirror are two of the instrumental songs on that I kind of just messed around with to just come up with like a way to bridge into the next songs afterwards, which were also mapped out.
Okay.
In software and written out.
Yeah.
Just trying to, it's more of those just like tiny musical ideas that I kind of like, what sounds good, and will this work? Will it not work? And that's super fun for me.
Yeah.
And they turn out really fun. Like it's really, really fun to listen to.
Do you ever have an idea that you end up throwing away that you maybe you were excited about, but then you go to do it, you go to record it, and you're like, this isn't working?
Oh, hundreds.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like the guy throwing out those little crumples of paper in the trash bin all the time. But the cool thing about technology is that you can erase things and rework them without having to, worry about throwing stuff away for real.
Right.
So, if I don't end up liking an idea, I can just kind of readjust and like fix it and or add stuff to it, what have you. And then I kind of like to make things work.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I like to craft my ideas, but not have them go to waste.
Right.
So there are some ideas in each of my songs that are probably, actually not probably, they are borrowed from previous ideas.
Yeah.
So Hidden Away's verse riff is actually a song that I wrote back in like 2012 that I didn't really have any way to record. So I was like, this riff's kind of cool. Let's put that in. So, but there's still a fair share of like different ideas that just would not work for the songs I already have out, or probably would not fit my sound at all. So
Okay.
but that's the life of being a composer, I guess.
Yeah.
You have those ideas that go to waste, and you have those ideas that stick, and you want to reuse.
JFed in the chat room, and he asks everybody this question. He says, have you ever considered increasing the length of your beard?
I want to.
Do you?
Yeah, I'd like to. I try to keep it somewhat neat, but you know, I don't have the best luck with my beard sometimes. So
Really, does it get to a?
it gets a little scraggly, so I got
Yeah.
to tame it sometimes, which reminds me I got to do that
Yeah.
fairly soon. But yes, I would like to grow it out a little more. Same with my hair. That's my next project.
Really? Yeah. Now, so have you ever? I'm assuming not, but have you ever played any of this live in front of people, or?
No. Maybe one day I will, but you know, because it's all solo stuff, a lot of it, you know, I'd have to like have a band for hire and you know, and have the time to
Right.
assemble all that and actually practice them again.
Yeah.
But no, I've you know thought about potentially doing something like that sometime in the future.
Yeah.
If you know it got to that point, but you know. I think it'd be difficult to assemble right now because there's so many moving parts,
Mhm.
and you probably need about 6 keyboardists probably. 'Cause I love to layer things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it's on the table. Just I don't know when. It's very up in the air.
I mean, the other option would be to, you know, just play in front of backing tracks and.
Yeah, that's also a possibility too. That's something I've kind of toyed with.
Really? Yeah.
Here and there. Yeah. It's just a matter of kind of getting it all together. But
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah.
That'd
Yeah.
be fun.
But yeah, either way, it would be a lot of work, no doubt.
Yeah.
Fraser Ramsey in the chat room says, "Hey from Edinburgh, Scotland." Well, hello.
Hello.
Very nice. Well, let's do this. Let's play another track. I'd like to. Well, actually, I'll let you pick though. What would you like us to play? I don't know.
Let's do my newest one, Fragmented.
Okay.
I released back on St. Patty's Day.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's a fun
So
one.
this is the newest one. Very good. All right, let's give this a listen, and then we'll come back and chat some more. If you're just joining us, we have Nolan Cota here, and we are featuring and talking about his music from Aeons Encoded. This is his solo project, and check this out. This is the newest one. This is Fragmented. I love it. That is Fragmented from Aeons Encoded. And we have the man behind Aeons Encoded here on the couch with us in studio. Nolan Cota is here. That's so good. We've got, let's see, Mike from Queen City Cabinetry in the chat room says, really good. Aaron Bilodeau says, wow, this is a great song too. J-Fed says, I'm digging this. Jenny says, loving this. And Dina Cota, a relation there?
Yep, mother.
That's your mother? Yep, very nice. Yep, she says, love Fragmented, top track choice for me. And Isaac Banks also said, great song. Yeah, that is really good. And, we were kind of talking off air while I was playing, kind of a little bit of an 80s vibe there with the keyboard riff, which is really catchy.
Yeah, I wanted to like replicate kind of a DX7 type sound, like a Yamaha electric piano.
Yeah.
And kind of like put some modern twist on that, add some reverb to it, and call it a day. Yeah.
Yep.
Give a little different spin on that. Yep.
Melanie also has a non-musical question because she's watching online. What evil beings does Beard Man have on his shirt?
Oh, it's the Scream. It's the Scream guy. Yeah.
Yes.
I got it at Hot Topic, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm getting ready for spooky season.
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
So is Melanie. Well, I think for Melanie, it's already here. So some people just, Halloween is there.
She's already got the giant skeleton in the front yard. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's already arrived for her.
Yeah. Some people start Halloween really early.
She covets all things evil.
If you have a question or feedback or anything at all for Nolan Cota from Aeons Encoded and from Pointless Culture, he is in studio with us. 603-250-6007 is a studio line. 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. I'm on social media at Matt Connarton. You can email me, matt@mattconnerton.com. And, of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. But we'd love it if you call us at 603-250-6007. J-Fed says the skeleton is 12 feet tall. Oh, boy, that's a lot of skeleton in the front yard there.
I think it's probably making the other one jealous.
Yes.
She used to caught the little one everywhere. Now we don't hear anything about that.
Right.
What was his name? Russell?
I don't remember. I don't remember. Nolan, too, we were talking off air about your other band, Pointless Culture, and one of the guys in the band is also in radio, you were saying.
Yeah. Harrison Hinman is our drummer, and he's a very talented individual. I want to give him a quick shout out. He's an awesome dude. Helps us a lot with our booking and getting stuff out there, kind of managing our social media stuff as well. He does a lot for the band, so want to give him a little bit of love.
And he's on WJYY up in Concord, right?
Yeah, 105.5 JYY.
Yep. Station I know. I used to live in Concord, so I know that station really well. Yeah. Has he been there a long time? Or?
Yeah, we actually used to live together up until this last month.
Oh, no kidding. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
We're very close friends.
Oh, cool.
And so it's awesome that we get to do everything we get to do together, with the band and all that. So
yeah,
super fun.
Excellent. And we have a call. Our friend Mike Doyle is on the line. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Jenny. And hey, musical guest. I just turned you on. I thought you were on your break because I heard the music.
Oh.
And then I realized you weren't and realized it was an in-studio guest. And I just wanted to give my my 2 cents. It was fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Instrumentals in that song with just enough singing. For those who, I'm not really, I don't know if is that considered hard rock or rock or...
Yeah, or like progressive rock.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah. So somebody who's not into like the hard rock scene, but likes more of the mellow rock, that was excellent. Good
Thank
job.
you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. That's from a square 65-year-old man that doesn't like hard rock music.
Thank you.
You're hipper than you know, sir.
Yeah, I know. We'll talk to you guys later.
All right, Mike. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Yeah. Bye-bye.
That would be his generation, right? Hip.
Yes. Hey, there you go.
Good choice.
All right. Nice to hear from our friend Mike Doyle. That does open up the line for you. 603-250-6007. 603-250-6007. Now, with Pointless Culture, you guys are you're currently recording, right? You're recording an album?
Yeah, we're recording an EP.
Okay.
And then an album, hopefully fairly soon after that. So we have like a 4-track we're working on right now.
Okay.
And yesterday we just finished up 2 of those. And then we got to record 1 more, and then we're pretty much on par to release it, probably in the next month or 2.
Excellent.
So that's really exciting. It's it's more of like an indie punk type mix.
Okay.
So it's a lot different than what I write, but it's like in my wheelhouse still, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Our lead guy, who's also named Harrison, is a fantastic songwriter. A lot of the songs are all of his, pretty much all of them actually, and want to give him some love too. And Ben in the band, fantastic musicians, very fun to work with. So yeah, we're on par to release that pretty soon. It's gonna be just a little 4-track and kind of like going over each of our style and kind of like what we are as a band, who we are as a band. So looking forward to that.
What do you do in that band?
I'm the bass player.
Okay, that's what I figured because in the picture on Facebook, you got a bass, yeah. And there's 2 guys named Harrison in the band?
There is.
Oh,
yeah. Very rare occurrence.
Yeah. I mean, Harrison's not a super unusual name, but it's not super common either. So yeah, that's funny.
It's like in between, right? Yeah.
And they both go by Harrison. Like neither of them's Harry or.
Well, no, actually, I just number them in my phone.
You really?
So they're kind of in order on how I met them. So H1 is who I named our drummer Harrison.
Yeah.
And who I used to live with, and H2 is our frontman and kind of the lead and savior of the band, as I call him.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's like a huge family in that band. We got a whole like crew. It's a lot of fun. We just played in Warner at the Summer Jam this past Saturday.
Oh, cool.
A lot of fun. Played a couple new songs that we had, in the works.
Mm-hmm.
And they went super well. So, this is really fun to have like as a, kind of like, I guess my main priority right now, just because like I haven't had like a working original band before.
Mm-hmm.
And while guitar has always been like my main instrument, I have found so much fun and joy playing bass.
Yeah.
It's kind of like opened up that passion right back up again that, may have like kind of dwindled over time, because music is kind of like taxing at times.
Sure.
But like just playing a new instrument primarily like that is a huge like just breath of fresh air.
Well, I was going to say, too, it must be a relief in a way. I mean, obviously, you have a lot of passion for Aeons Encoded, but at the same time, not having to do everything yourself must be nice,
my
too.
Gosh, yes. Yeah, huge relief. But, we all get to, pull our weight. We get to put in our input that we, when it comes to, like, writing our songs and, like, how we want to go, our direction. And, it's nice to have that brotherhood with each other. We're, like, very tight-knit. And, we always come to, like, some kind of, like, solution or conclusion to how we want to go about saying, like, recording this song or writing this song or what we play live, etc. So it's a fun time, and just couldn't ask for a better group of people.
Now, the EP that you're recording now, will that be the first thing that you've released as a band?
No, last October, I think October 6th, we released some homebrew recordings called The Sampler.
Okay.
Which was 3 of our songs that we started, our shows with. The Line's Been Drawn, Lift Off, and Little House. So those we recorded actually in our drummer Harrison's work, and we kind of just set everything up through a mixer and just kind of like, just get something out there, and it turned out it came out pretty good, I would say.
Yeah.
For being kind of done on our own.
Yeah.
And fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But our first recorded like professional song, like through Cedar House Sound in Sutton, Jerry Putnam.
Oh, yeah.
He incredible guy to work with. Very, very fun guy to talk to as well. We recorded Severed Ties in a studio back in November, released it in December, and that was like our first like, I guess, breakthrough song, and kind of bringing us out into like the professionalism side of things. And we're working with him again for this EP, and it's just been an overall fantastic experience.
Okay.
Gets better and better.
Good.
Yeah.
How long has Pointless Culture been around? Because I feel like I've heard the name even before Jenny mentioned that she had booked you for the show. I feel like I've heard of the band.
So it's the 4 of us have been a band with 4 members since about March, but we were a 3-piece. I was with the other 2 Harrisons for about a year.
Oh, okay.
And then the other 2 Harrisons, who went by H squared or Harrison squared back then, they were like, jamming out. They reconnected with each other, and I was like, hey, I want to play bass.
Yeah.
No, but they asked me as well, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. So we just kind of like formed it, one by one in a way.
Oh, okay.
So as a full 3- and 4-piece band, depending on how you look at it, I guess like we really got our start a year ago, and we added Ben, our second guitarist, back in February-March timeframe.
I dig that's a cool name too, Pointless Culture. What's the origin of that name?
So both Harrisons were trying to come up with a name, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, if you're listening. I think they were gonna go with divorce culture, and then pointless something, but then they like kind of mended them together.
Yeah.
So pointless culture was born.
Yeah.
I kind of fuzzy details.
Yeah.
But you know, they were kind of going the same route I did, and kind of like seeing, you know, what sounded pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, word generators are great when it comes to that. And you got to try to find something that's not taken or,
Right.
you know, is open to be used with. I think it kind of started the same way that my name did,
Yeah.
but they kind of blended two words together
Yeah.
from other names. And so, you know, Pointless Culture was born. And I love the name too. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, trying to find something that's not already taken, that can be one of the hardest things. I mean, it's a lot easier than it used to be because now, you know, you can Google it, you can look it up. But I remember a time, I've told this story on the show before, but I had a friend I went to high school with, and I remember running into him a couple of years after high school, and he was a musician too, and he told me about this new band he was in, this rock band, and I said, "What's the name?" And he said, "Intuition." And he said that to me, and immediately I'm thinking, oh, God, there's probably so many bands that have already used that name. And then, swear to God, I ran into him again a few months later, and same place, and I said, how's the band? And he said, good, except we had to change our name because we heard from another band already using that name. And I'm too polite to say anything, but in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, of course. Of course you had to change it. Intuition. Like the most obvious, you know what I mean? Like, of course, there's probably a million different bands that have used that name. So yeah, that can be a big part of the challenge, is just finding something where you're not going to run into a problem later.
Exactly. Yeah. The more words, the better, and the less common the word, the better too.
Mhm.
It's very competitive out there, not just with music, but with naming your music
Yeah.
and all that. But, you know, I'm glad we were able to both find something, both, you know, the band and myself, something that we could both use and call our own.
Yeah.
That's really, really fortunate to be able to say that we can do that.
Now, do you guys play out a lot with that project?
Yeah, we played at the Bang & Hampshire stage last August, this past August, and that was probably our biggest show yet.
Cool.
But we haven't played a ton. We've played maybe 6 or so. We have one coming up in Ackworth on the 23rd, and our first one was at Tandy's Pub in downtown Concord.
Oh, cool.
And that was the night before. It was kind of like a little release party for Sever Ties because it was coming out that midnight, you know, of the next day.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's do a cool little show there, and we got some help from a friend of ours, Kurt Felder, who runs like, you know, kind of like music journaling, like YouTube videos, and very talented guy.
Yeah.
Really cool guy too, and he helped us get that gig.
Okay.
So, and then, you know, we had kind of like a little drought in between. We added Ben. We were kind of learning some new songs. Then it wasn't until maybe this past, you know, summer where we started to really get some more shows booked. But it can be tough to get them booked now.
Yeah. I mean, summer is usually probably the busiest time.
Oh yeah.
For you guys as far as shows, right? I mean, I know a lot of bands will, you know, kind of use winter to sort of record, and then spring, summer, early fall to play out. But that seems to be the easiest way. I mean, you know, I don't play anymore, but when I was in bands, that was always the best way to do it, because you know, in the winter it's just miserable to.
Yeah, I've played shows before when I was lugging equipment in the winter upstairs outside and like slipping, almost dropping stuff, and it's miserable.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're kind of going that same route. You know, we're just kind of taking maybe the winter, maybe a few shows here and there, but like kind of taking that time to really focus on recording more stuff.
Yeah.
Because we have so many things that we want to add to, you know, the music world out there. So, you know, it's kind of like that opportune time to do all that.
Yeah.
But we're really trying to book for next year.
Yeah. Excellent.
Around spring, summer.
Excellent. Well, why don't we play another Aeons Encoded song? I definitely want to get one more in before we run out of time. But I'll let you choose one again. What?
Let's go back to the first album, Inspect Element. Let's do Hidden Away.
Hidden Away.
Yeah.
I think I've listened to that one.
That's the one I wanted to go for, a Deftones style vocal.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm very okay. I don't think I did listen to this one then. All right. Well, I'm very curious now. All right, cool. So let's give this a listen. This is Hidden Away. The artist is Aeons Encoded, and that is Aeons Encoded on the couch. That is Nolan, Cota, the man behind Aeons Encoded. Let's check this out. This is called Hidden Away. Got those dramatic endings. I love it. That is that one's called Hidden Away, and that is Aeons Encoded. And Nolan Cota from Aeons Encoded is here with us. He is on the couch in studio with Jenny and I, and we've been featuring some of that music, and we've been talking a lot, and we are live on WMNH 95.3 FM. If you want to get in with a call, if you have any questions or anything for Nolan, do it quickly because we're almost out of show, but the studio line is open, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. And we do have another family member, I believe, Belinda Brooks Cota is in the Facebook live chat.
Hey, Graham.
Very nice. Very nice. It's cool that that they're supportive and that, they come out to listen.
I love it. I love it.
That is outstanding. Now, obviously, so you're pretty busy, it sounds like, with Pointless Culture, but do you have more Aeons Encoded music coming as well? Or?
I have a couple songs that I'm kind of slowly chipping away at. One of them is an older track I had back in like 2014 called Vanishing Point, and I don't know when that'll be done, but it's got about a minute or so far. Just gotta get at it and when I can.
Yeah.
It's so with how much I'm doing and how many different projects I'm a part of. It's hard to find that time to really sit down and focus on that stuff. But it's gonna come.
Yeah,
it's gonna come. And I'm never gonna stop doing Aeons. It's just I don't know when I'm gonna be able to like pick it up again comfortably,
right?
And stay with it. And burning yourself out's just not the move.
Right.
So but it's gonna come. My Facebook and Instagram are the best way to keep in contact with me or see what I'm up to for especially Aeons, because I have just made an account for that not long ago just to keep it separate for my own stuff. But all those updates will be on there when I get to it, but I got a couple things I'm working on.
And for people looking for Aeons Encoded online, too, we should just clarify for anyone who doesn't know, Aeons is spelled Aeons. People might be looking for it without the A and unable to find it. But
I wanted to go with a European spelling. It looked cooler.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen it spelled the other way. Is it sometimes spelled without the A?
Yeah, I discovered that EONS is kind of the more Western U.S. way of spelling it, but like with the added A is kind of European. It just looked cooler to me.
Oh yeah. No, it is cool.
But I think it's pronounced the same. You can say Aeons. It all means the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I have seen it spelled without the A, but I just assumed it. People who were spelling it without the A were spelling it wrong. But maybe that is acceptable.
English is weird.
Yeah. Or sometimes things are wrong, but over time they become accepted because they're spelled wrong or spoken wrong so often.
Yeah, I just thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it does. It definitely does. Well, I'm really glad you joined us today, and we'll actually close out the show with one more track in a moment. But this has been wonderful. And
thank you very much.
Absolutely. Like I said, we've been playing your music for long enough. Might as well have you on.
Yeah, I'm very, very humble and happy to be here.
Yeah,
thanks again.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming in. And I look forward to getting Pointless Culture, to getting you guys in here as well.
Oh my God, yeah. We're super excited.
That'll be cool. That'll be cool. Jenny, did you want to, before we go, you want to plug your website or anything, or?
You can find me at jenncoffey.com, JENNCOFFEY.com, and you'll see writings and paintings, and sometimes I post updates on there as well with a fight for healthcare.
Yes, absolutely. All right, and if you missed any part of today's show, it will be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org and at my website, mattconnarton.com, and let's if you want to pick one more, Nolan, we'll play one more to play us out.
Let's do Mobius. That's the one that somehow has the most plays, and it's not anything crazy. It's just kind of a fun little jam.
Oh, interesting. Which one is that on? Is that on Cosmic Archives?
That's on Inspect Element. It was kind of like my closer. Yeah, it's a fun little tune.
Okay, yeah, we'll go with that. All right, very cool. All right, so this is Mobius from the releases Inspect Element from Aeons Encoded. And Nolan, thank you again, my friend.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely, and here it is. This is Mobius.